So in this clip, we're going to see the brilliant Brian Tyler Cohen once again dismantle this Maga Barbie, this Trump sycophant, on all things to do with Operation Epic Fury being an unmitigated disaster. And we're also going to see Katie, that we can see here, the Donald Trump bootlicker, try and defend Donald Trump, try and defend Trump's Truth Social post where he calls out Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly. Guys, let's just not waste any time. Let's get into it. As usual, I'm going to hold my commentary, my perspective and my thoughts to the very end, and then I'll chime in from there. Let's get into it.
Was the war a good thing? Was it worth it? Are we safer now than we were at the beginning?
I think any way you cut this, internationally and domestically, this has been an unmitigated disaster. If you look at this from an international perspective, the whole point of this was supposed to be regime change. Well, we've gone from Khomeini to Khomeini, and so I don't think that we've really accomplished that goal of regime change. Also, in terms of the decimated military of the Iranians, well, if they're charging this toll now for ships and vessels to get through the Strait of Hormuz, they're going to be able to rebuild their military fivefold in terms of the amount of money that they're bringing in. When you look at what's happening right here at home, we've had at least 13 service members who've died, 400 who've been wounded. This has cost tens of billions of dollars that should have gone to domestic priorities. The cost of gas is surging. And so any way you cut this, abroad and at home, unmitigated disaster.
Okay.
Well, I totally disagree with my friend Brian. I think we are much safer than we were before. And the reason why is because, let's backtrack. President Trump had Iran sanctioned in 2018. And Joe Biden came in and he gave sanction waivers on Iran. And then President Trump also had Russia and Nord Stream 2 sanctioned. Joe Biden came in and made waivers on these things. And in my opinion, the stated goal was not for regime change. The stated goal was to make sure that Iran does not have nuclear capabilities. That has been over and over stated. It was pretty clear that they didn't want regime change. And
well, pretty clear is I mean, we've heard a lot of different things out of the administration from different people at different times.
From the outset was, we want to make sure Iran does not have a nuclear weapon or uranium enrichment. And look, China gets 80%, 90% of Iran oil is purchased by China. And having lived in China, I see that this is not just about Iran. This is about a multifaceted approach to ensuring that China can no longer use Iran as their oil base. And honestly, with what's happened with Russia and China and Iran, to make a big deal, I think the president has actually, with this deal on the table right now, is organizing what could be lasting peace instead of this recreation of more and more problems in the Middle East.
We have heard from the only plan that's been released right now, which is this 10-point plan released from Iran, which is that nuclear enrichment was still going to be allowed. So we have nothing to refute it from the American side. So as far as we know, there's going to be Americans paying for all of the damage that's been done. We're going to have continued uranium enrichment in Iran, and they're going to be able to charge tolls. So we really have gained nothing out of this. And in terms of obliterating Iran's military, I mean, we heard the exact same thing in June. So it's the same story being peddled by this administration that's constantly moving the goalposts, constantly obfuscating what's actually happening. Americans have no clue what's going on. We have heard that the goal of this thing was regime change. And then when that seemed to be a farce, because we've gone from the father to the son, who's reportedly more hardline than his dad was, the administration, if he's alive, the administration had to pivot and figure out some new excuse that would justify having gone through this whole debacle.
But Brian, this isn't the first time a president has talked about uranium enrichment and nuclear weapon development. I mean, President Obama spoke about this. President Biden spoke about this. President Bush spoke about this. President Trump has just been the first president to do something about it.
Obama had the JCPOA in place, and he was able.
That's the nuclear deal.
That was the nuclear deal. He was able to do this without threatening the genocide of 93 million
President
people.
Trump had sanctions in Iran in 2018. He continued this, and he was really hardline with Iran. And those sanctions were waived by Joe Biden under the Biden administration, and nuclear development continued and proliferated. And so there has to be a president.
This. I mean, because we do not know in terms of Iran's nuclear capability, and it's possible that there will be continue to enrich. And we've spent tens of billions of dollars. Hundreds of people have died. I mean, what is the actual end result of what we've gotten out of this?
I think I'm going to reverse the question and say, is the world safer if Iran has a nuclear weapon? Is the Middle Eastern region safer? Are our friends and allies...
But has this prevented it?
That's, I mean, I would argue that we are starting major road and ground that other presidents have not. He tried diplomacy wasn't working. And so now...
He didn't try diplomacy that hard.
He did. He absolutely did.
This whole started with bombs dropping this past summer, where he, again, came out and promised us that all of this was obliterated. For the people who believed him, now they must feel like fools, because if it was obliterated, what's the need to do it again? And yet here we are. And so this administration has no credibility. And frankly, if the deal that we have in place right now continues to be the one in place, then Iran is going to make enough money from vessels passing through the Strait of Hormuz that they're going to have no problem rebuilding their military.
Is the world safer if Iran has a nuclear weapon?
I don't have any confidence that this has prevented them from being able to have a nuclear weapon.
So stand by and let a nuclear weapon be developed, and let's see what happens, or do something about it. What is the solution? Diplomacy hasn't been working. So do we allow Iran? That's the question. Like, do we allow Iran to develop a nuclear weapon? Is that in the best interest of the world, the safety and security of us, the safety and security of the Middle Eastern region, and many of our friends and allies, even in Europe?
I don't know if anybody is saying that it's better to have Iran have a nuclear weapon. I think the question is, what is the best way of preventing that, and what's the best strategy going forward? But Brian, to her point, what if we do come to a deal, that these negotiations are successful? What if all of this springs a actual deal between Israel and Lebanon, and there maybe is some peace there? What if we maybe have a better relationship with Iran, and it's not as able to attack all of our allies with proxies, and their military has been decimated a little bit? I mean, isn't there some value in that?
Anytime there is actual lasting peace, I'm a proponent of that. My contention here is that I have no confidence that this administration is able to do that, or even showing that they're capable of doing that. Because, again, in the deal that we've seen thus far, Iran looks like it's in a stronger position than it was just a couple of months ago.
It's interesting also in terms of strength. President Trump's poll numbers not great on this. And we've seen a divide in the Maga base, which you know so well, talking to these folks every day. There are some people who are against this, and there are plenty in the Maga base who are very supportive of him as well. But he posted on Truth Social about some well-known Republican commentators who have been against this war. Let's put this up on the screen. I know why Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens, and Alex Jones have all been fighting me for years, especially by the fact they think it's wonderful for Iran, the #1 state sponsor, to have a nuclear weapon, because they have one thing in common: low IQs. They know it, their families know it, and everybody knows it too. What's your reaction to that, and your feel in terms of what's going on in the Maga base?
Well, I'm going to lead with I'm a free speech absolutist. So President Trump can say this, and the people that he's speaking about can say this. And I will also speak to the fact that I've been very frustrated with the factions in the Republican Party. Generally, Republicans have shown a long history of not being able to win. We cannot even right now get the Save America Act passed in the Republican Senate and Republican House. So it went through the House, and we can't get it passed in the Senate. So to see all of these...
You need 60 votes in the Senate, so you need to get rid of the filibuster.
We need to get rid of the filibuster. It's a whole
other
other thing. But to speak to this, that I am also happy to see Alex Jones get called out in that post. He's been a very difficult person after going bankrupt, kissing the president, and really asking him for favors, and then kind of turning around and attacking him. However, the free speech aspect of this, they are welcome to talk about. I have a bigger problem at the factions in the Republican Party and the inability for anyone to get anything done, everyone fighting online about everything. And so that is really more my position, is I would like to see all of these people come to the table and at least be united on trying to get something done for the American people, which would be voter ID.
Do you agree with the president that Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens are all low IQ people?
I'm not going to speak to their IQs or he has his personal opinion about them.
Yeah. What do you think is going on here?
I think it's pretty telling that Donald Trump goes after Candace Owens, Alex Jones, Tucker Carlson, and Megyn Kelly for daring to hold the president to the same standard that he campaigned on. He promised that he was going to be a president that didn't engage in foreign adventurism. That's exactly what he's doing right now. He promised that he wouldn't be a president that would see gas prices rise. We're seeing these gas prices surge to levels that we haven't seen in years and years and years. He promised he would be a president that would focus on America first. And now he is moving billions and billions and billions of dollars from domestic priorities over to the Middle East so that he can drop bombs. And then on top of all of that, he thinks that he has a leg to stand on by attacking his own former allies. It's not like these people are crunching raunchy liberals. These are the most MAGA people that you could possibly find, and yet he attacks them because they dare try hold him to the same standard that he set for himself.
You simplify this that he's just raising gas prices and dropping bombs. And
That's exactly
No,
what
but
he's doing.
to the point, and this will be the last question. In terms of, though, for a lot of folks that voted for him because they didn't want foreign wars. They said, this is what we signed up for. We had Caroline Sunshine on last week who used to work for him, who said, this isn't the meal that I ordered. I'm against this. What do you say to that?
Well, I say that there is a lot of military intelligence that I am not aware of. And I voted for the president because I trust his ability to defend the United States. I also voted for him because there were 8 peace deals that he accomplished in his first 8 months of being president. And this, I think the war was probably the last thing he wanted to do. And he tried diplomatic efforts. And here we are. And I do trust that he has the right military intelligence. General Kane, I really do believe, is the man for the job. He ended exactly what he needed to with ISIS in record time. So I don't know the military intelligence that the president has. I voted for President Trump because I trust his judgment on this.
We got to leave it there.
So I'm going to leave it there, guys. And I'm going to leave the link in the description to the full exchange so you guys can go ahead and check it out. But look, I don't want to waste too much time. There's so many points that I just want to push back on because she's just sitting there and doing what MAGA and Republicans do, which is lie, try and create strawman arguments, and just deflect. Let's first and foremost start with Biden waived Iran sanctions, so it's his fault. Obama's JCPOA was actually working until Donald Trump scrapped it in 2018. That's a fact, a known fact that no one can refute, no one can push back on, and no one can argue about. This is the frustration with me. You know, when you give that point to MAGA, they then turn around and they say to you, "Oh, Barack Obama sent a pile of cash over to Iran." Well, if we actually take a look, number one, Iran are going to make billions in toll fees because the Strait of Hormuz is still controlled by them. Secondly, America literally just released millions, or if not billions, in funding that was frozen, that was owed to Iran. So Iran are now going to get that money as well. They're then going to get that money. Okay, so that is just an absolute ridiculous argument. Her point of the goal was never regime change. It was just stopping the nukes. Well, multiple Trump officials publicly said that regime change was the goal. So what is she talking about? Her point of Trump tried diplomacy first. Complete lies. He opened with bombs last summer, like Brian said in the video, not diplomacy. The point of Iran's military has been decimated. Hello. He told us the same thing last summer. Clearly, that was not true and it was a lie. Saying the deal is going to bring lasting peace. The only plan on the table still allows uranium enrichment. So what are we talking about here? What are we talking about here? And talking about lasting peace. Listen, do your own research. Guys, if you're hearing my voice, don't listen to me. Go and do your own research. And guess what you will find? You will find that Barack Obama's JCPOA deal was working. Everybody that knows what they're talking about says that Iran was sticking to it. People that were tasked with going into Iran and just doing checks on them and inspecting to make sure that they're sticking to the plan. They were sticking to the plan. It's only when Donald Trump came and ripped it up that Iran started to not follow what it is that was put in place. It was only then. This is the problem with all of this stuff. Donald Trump has set something up and started something that was completely avoidable. Completely avoidable. And it's just so many of these talking points that that these guys give MAGA. It's just embarrassing. They humiliate themselves because the reality is they don't have a clue in what it is that they're talking about. They don't. But they will still continue to say these things because they depend on people like me, like you, not fact-checking them and not researching them. Even in this clip, I love that Brian pushed back on a lot of the things that she said. But I feel like Brian could have done a lot better. I really do. But let me know your guys' thoughts on this exchange between Brian Tyler Cohen and Katie. I'm not even sure what her surname is, but I like to call her Maga Barbie. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comment section below. And while you guys are down there, hype up the video, give the video a thumbs up, and also do me a favor and subscribe if you're interested in a Brit's commentary, thoughts, and perspective. Appreciate you guys. I'll see you guys in the next clip.